Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 5 in the Contracts course. Just a reminder, this is a 5.5-week course. It will end next Tuesday, November 9th. I know a few of you have been sick this term, so if you need to request an incomplete grade, that will give you an additional week after the course ends on Tuesday, November 9th to submit your assignment. So if you've had COVID or if you've had the flu, you've been sick, just let me know if you would like to request an incomplete grade, because that will give you an additional week after the course ends to submit your assignments. So let's talk about what's going on in Module 5. We will be talking about contracts in the electronics age. You'll need to read in your textbook Contract Law for Paralegals, the chapters 4, 9, and 13. You have a Module 5 written assignment on cheating the elderly. And we will be meeting Wednesday for our Module 5 live classroom. There is no quiz this week. So let's talk about some of our objectives in Module 5. We're going to research requirements to form a contract remotely using computers or other electronic devices. We're going to choose clear and effective clauses to exclude warranties. We're going to review illegality. We'll research incapacity and undue influence. We will also assess fraudulent contracts and judge the ethics of working with incapacitated persons. So let's talk about unenforceable agreements. We've talked about the requirements for a valid contract, that is offer, acceptance, and consideration. However, some contracts are unenforceable. And enforceability would be a defense to a breach of contract action, for example. The defendant would say, well, Your Honor, to the judge that, look, this contract's not enforceable. One of the reasons why could be the infancy doctrine. If one of the contracting parties is a minor, for example, the contract might be voidable. If one of the parties to the contract was legally insane or intoxicated, then in that case, they would lack the mental capacity to contract, and the agreement would be voidable. Some contracts are illegal, and those contracts are void from the beginning. A contract that violates public policy, for example, would be a usurious loan, a loan with an interest rate that is higher than the statutes in that state allows. For example, you've heard about some payday loans charging 300%. In certain instances, that would be an illegal contract. Anything that violates the state statute, which limits the percentage rate that can be charged on a loan. A contract that would violate public policy, for example, a contract for hire, if someone wants to hire someone to kill their spouse, that would be an illegal contract. It's void from the beginning. A contract to sell or deliver drugs is illegal. It's void. So we're going to look at some unenforceable agreements. We're going to look at contracts that would be unconscionable, contracts where the provisions are so unfair to one party that they just would be unconscionable. And these are all defenses to a breach of contract action. Let's talk about the intellectual capacity. The law presumes that parties to the contract have the requisite contractual capacity to enter into the contract. However, certain persons do not have the capacity. Maybe it's due to youth, maybe it's due to insanity, maybe it's due to intoxication. So in those instances, that contract would be voidable. Voidable. Those parties who have been adjudged insane in a court of law, the contract is void. Neither party can enforce it. However, if someone is insane but has not been through a court determination of their sanity, then the contract is voidable by the insane person. So the person who lacks the capacity to contract can raise the defense that the contract is unenforceable. We'll be talking about legality in Module 5. One requirement to have an enforceable contract is that the object of the contract must be lawful. The consideration for the contract must be lawful. Most contracts that individuals and businesses enter into are actually lawful, and they're enforceable. Contracts for the sale of goods, services, real property, intangible goods, the lease of goods, property leases, licenses, these are all enforceable agreements. Again, an illegal agreement would be one that violates public policy, a loan that is usurious, or anytime you have an agreement to commit a crime, that is void. Neither party can enforce an agreement like that. Today, we live in an era of e-commerce. So we'll be looking into some of the rules that affect electronic contracts that are entered into over the internet. We know now during a pandemic, people are contracting more and more on the internet. Contracts can be created via email. E-contracts are electronically made agreements that are enforceable in court as ordinary oral or written contracts. They may or may not have an electronic signature. One of the challenges is determining what the actual terms of the contract are. A consumer e-contract, the consumer may not know the actual seller, since many purchases online from small businesses are made by contacting businesses such as Amazon, eBay, Barnes and Noble, or Walmart through their online sales. So, one of the things we're talking about, we're going to be looking at are some of the warranties. What kind of warranty do you get when you purchase a product? And what happens when you purchase a product online and you see little tiny terms and conditions that you're just clicking on and you're not really reading? Let's take a look at this Module 5 assignment on cheating the elderly. In this example, Johann and Mary are helping their grandfather who has dementia. That should raise an issue right there about his capacity to contract. They want to receive his assets, but are aware that they may be accused of elder abuse by their cousins or family members, or even the court. So they've asked an attorney, your supervising attorney, to prepare a contract for Jacob to sign while he has dementia. Now, his grandchildren will do normal housekeeping and look in on him at least 3 times a week in return for the remaining funds that will be payable over a 3-year period. They will not do any personal care for their grandfather, but will arrange for care. They want to, under their proposed contract, receive a salary each month from his Social Security and his monthly 401k earnings in a lump sum of $50,000 each at the end of the year. Should Jacob outlive his assets, they plan for him to go on Medicaid and assisted living at state expense. So the issue in this case, would the attorney be violating any ethical rules by assisting in the creation of such a contract? Should Jacob, their grandfather, have his own attorney? And would an agreement like this be enforceable? So you'll want to, of course, get on Lexis Advance or Fastcase, use one of these premier legal research services, and do a search on voidable contracts and incapacity. You want to, again, cite and find the most recent case that you can find on the internet on undue influence. Use this search or a similar search to get contract law, not criminal law. Undue influence. If you're searching under terms and connectors, you could search the word undue influence and contract and then put not crim. That way you won't be getting criminal law cases. We want to look at civil law contract cases. So take a position in this essay on the legal and ethical issues presented. One thing I do not like is any kind of moral ambiguity. So take a stance, say, I believe this contract is unenforceable. I believe that Jacob lacks the capacity to contract. I believe that the attorney is acting unethically because I do not want moral ambiguity in your essay. I want you to take a stance and defend that stance with the cases that you find and with the ethical rules. The last part of the assignment is always to identify the ideas on what the other side may say in response to your position. So just a reminder, your Module 5 assignment is due on Sunday, November 7th. This is only a 5.5-week course, so fall term 1 will end on Tuesday. So please be sure to submit all of your assignments on Tuesday, November 9th. No assignments can be accepted for a grade after the term ends. Now, should you request an incomplete grade, you will have an additional week to submit your assignments. So I look forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday during our live session where we will talk more about the concepts presented in Module 5 and your assignments. Have a great week.